Hello and welcome to this spookiest of 40k streams where we're going to talk a tiny amount about, Warhammer 40k, which is supposed to be terrifying, but during all my research I've discovered is mostly just sad. There is less scary stuff here than utterly depressing stuff. It's just apparently the way 40k works is they call it scary and then you read into it a little bit and you're like, well, that's fucking depressing. But such is the fate of most horror. Is it scary when you're the one looking at it, but if you're the one experiencing it, it's just depressing. Anyway, we are two idiot gamers, and this hunk of lard, I guess, is Chris. I am AC, and welcome.
Hey guys, welcome to the Chris Learns Warhammer bi-weekly special. Or it's special because it's Halloween. Happy Halloween!
Yeah.
And what are we learning about today, AC?
Well, we're learning about the scary shit in 40k. There is a lot of it. It's, like I said earlier, though, in the introduction, it's a bit more complicated than you'd think because half of it is scary, but with a very strong dose of actually depressing. It's grim, it's dark, it's terrifying, but then depressing. Except for the cryptos. Cryptos are really weird, and I don't actually get what their whole point is. But those guys are more scary. Except for the fact that they can only feel one singular emotion, which is fear, and nothing else.
You called they have a name named Crypto? Cryptos?
Cryptos, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start with cryptos because they're the big one, right? So right. Cryptos are space ghosts, basically. They wander through space as gas until they find a planet. Almost always with humans. Actually, no, when we're talking about almost always with humans. Then they go find a host. They go find a random human and they possess them. They get breathed in by this human and then push the human's consciousness all the way back in their mind. So all the human can do is kind of look. They can see through their eyes, but they can't control their eyes. They can't control their hands. They can't control their feelings. They can't control their senses at all. They can't control shit. They are now just a passenger who is watching somebody else pilot the body.
Oh, God, that's freaky. That's like almost having like locked-in syndrome, but you're still moving.
Yes, but keep in mind that when a crypto possesses you, right, they instantly learn every single thing there is to know about you. So they can mimic you absolutely perfectly.
Oh. So they take control of your body and they're able to replicate you like 100% effectively.
Yep.
Do they get your memories too?
Yep.
Oh God, that's terrifying. It's almost like a scarier version of the Thing.
Kind of, except there's slightly less body horror until, well, they encounter the Thing. They don't know what the...
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1 sec. I do need to be right back. There's something happening outside. I need to go check.
All right, and we're back. AC had to do something.
Yeah, run out and do a thing. Not great. Still, it's over now. And I'll have to move forwards with whatever I'm doing today, which in this case is talking about the really fucking weird history of cryptos and the fact that they're just basically possessive ghosts that then, slowly devour your soul.
Damn.
But they're also just kind of infiltrate and
really bad
and sneak around. Yeah, no, these guys are creepy. And they become like infestations. So like once you get one, you start getting more and more until they sense something. No one knows what it is, but something will happen, and they will freak the fuck out. Like have proper like indications of like pure terror. Normally, no fear, nothing. They don't feel shit. And then suddenly, they will try everything they can do to escape. Usually when they get caught by the Inquisition, but sometimes not. And then there's just like a weird thing of a mass exodus, which leaves like bodies everywhere, where there's like no one there anymore.
So these
But
things, they can possess regular humans. Can they possess space marines?
they've never tried. They try and avoid all the main body of the Imperium. So the main planets that tend to get possessed, or the main like colonies that tend to get possessed, are like well, the Imperium hasn't even found. So
And
they just
you, and so they don't try to possess the like the space marines and stuff like that. They're cool with just
nah,
possessing regular ass like humans.
yeah, trying to hide off in corners and stuff, so you don't see them. So you don't get them. They're like hiding in the corner, and they start to like propagate. There's a lot of theories about behind what they were. Like the idea that the thing that they're scared of is like some kind of god, chaos god, or even just a god within the reality that stripped them of their bodies
Hmm.
and left them with nothing but these like deep, just left them as like gas that lives between stars. So they tend to live in the like lightless margins of star systems, or in the deep void between galaxies and stars, where there's nothing. There's just inky blackness as far as eternity can go.
And what were these things' names again? Knots?
Yeah, cryptos.
Oh, sorry,
They sound like crypto
cryptos.
bros. It's really funny.
Crypto bros.
Yeah, they possess you like crypto bros as well. They just get in there
Uh,
trying to sell you a bunch of.
apes.
Yeah, it's usually ape. No, that's NFT bros. They're trying to sell you Bitcoin
Oh
or
no no, they're
Dogecoin.
trying to sell you like coins and shit. Crypto coins. Imperium coin. Hey guys, we're gonna be starting up a new coin called the Tau coin.
Yeah, it's just a Tau coin.
That's
Bruh.
good.
So they're that's one sect of just like weird black things. The next one I'd say are that I find to be personally fucking terrifying to me, right?
Uh huh.
Is a sect of Necrons. So the Necrons are in and of themselves kind of depressing as a race. They're kind of the undead of Warhammer 40k. So they fill the role of the dead, or of the like the undead. So if you're playing like Warhammer, you'd get you get the undead, and you play as like lich heroes and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. From what I
That's what the
know,
Necrons basically sit as, right?
yeah, from like the very little that I know, they're basically like Egyptian like skeletons that come to life and can't really truly die because they always just like reconstitute themselves.
Not quite. So Necrons can die. They
Okay.
do have backups because they're robots. They're like full ass automatons. They weren't always robots. So quick history: Necrons went to war with a species called the Great Old Ones, but the Necrons had their planet gave them like crippling illnesses that would kill them at age 30. They would live like 30 years, 30 standard human years, die. They met some Materium gods who then tricked them into giving selling their souls for food to these Materium gods, who then gave them bodies of what they call necrodermis, right? Which is just metal skin, which does regenerate, like you described, right?
Okay.
However, it's you can destroy it if you kill a Necron, like a low tier Necron, they're dead. They don't have like backups. They're just a dead body that usually gets taken away and then like fixed. But they're already dead. They're all dead. They don't even have. They lost their souls billions of years ago. These guys are old. They also fought a war that took billions of years to lose against the Eldar and the Quarks.
Oh yeah, the quirks from last time are basically
Yeah. So the
the
Necrons are
highly
the
advanced orcs.
yeah, but the Necrons are the guys they were built to fight. The Necrons have the Necrons are cool. We'll have to do an episode on the Necrons eventually, but
Yeah.
long story short, they have super incredible tech. They have a thing called the Celestial Orrery, which is a thing that like gives them power over planets. Where if it's like a giant room full of hologram of the galaxy, right? And if you zoom in, you can go all the way down to a planet. But if you go to the planet and you delete it from the orrery, it destroys the actual planet.
Damn, Jesus.
That was one of their less dangerous weapons from the War in Heaven.
Less dangerous, the power to destroy an entire planet. Okay.
Well, technically the
Did
whole
it?
galaxy. They
Did,
they destroyed their properly dangerous weapons.
I'm guessing they have an equivalent to a Star Killer base from Star Wars that destroys entire planets in the galaxy. Then.
No, they have other stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, the Necrons are weird. Anyway, so the horror thing comes in the form of the flayed ones.
the
Who
flayed ones.
So they're Necrons that are infected with kind of a residual virus from their time from the flesh time. So back when they had flesh and bone bodies that leaves them craving and needing flesh. They need to have their flesh back, but so badly that they start attacking organics, stripping them of their skin and kind of trying to wear it as if it's their skin again. They try and wear it, put it back on. They try and eat the flesh of those that they kill, but they're robots. They don't have mouths, so they just sort of mash it against their face plates.
Oh, that's weird. Oh,
So watching it is terrifying, right?
yeah.
But it's also depressing because the Necrons that this happens to is it's slow and they don't they they it used to be that they became like sprinting zombies or mindless zombies when they became flayed ones, right?
Hmm.
But it's shown in some of the books that they're still sentient. They can no longer communicate properly with normal Necrons who aren't flayed ones, but they're still extremely loyal to their kings or their regions. I'm going to call them regions because the proper name has completely like I've forgotten what the proper name for their leaders is, but they still have like unshakable loyalty to them. So they're still like able to kind of communicate with like weird clicks and stuff, but they can only really
Yeah.
communicate with each other. Other stuff happens to Necrons when this happens. So a normal Necron he just kind of looks like a skeletal dude, with fists and normal
Like human
humanoid
proportions, kind
features.
of.
Yeah. Some of them are slightly bigger. Flayed ones, however, go super skinny, and their
Hmm.
fingers become long, slender blades.
Oh
So
God! So they get the Edward Scissorhands treatment. Oh wow.
yeah, but they also become much skinnier than normal Necrons
Huh?
and taller and more. They become more
Oh
predator-like.
God!
So they
So when you said tall and slender, the thing that popped into my head is Slender Man. So I'm just imagining Slender Man with like scissors for hands.
and a metal skull face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
That'd be fucking crazy.
but they're even weirder because Necrons can't do space travel the same as everyone else. They have their own like faster than light tech, and they also have a thing that just basically allows them to teleport across galaxies without using the warp. They have like extremely advanced tech, and I think they call it slip space. And the flayed ones have their own section of slip space that they can use to just hop planets. Normal Necrons have to use like ships and stuff to hop between planets, right?
Damn.
The flayed
So
ones just kind of snap their fingers and vanish. And then if
dang.
they go to fight against normal, say against the Imperium, right?
Yeah.
You can have these fuckers just appearing out of thin fucking air to devour
Bro, they'd make
people.
like perfect assassins. If they weren't like so mindless. Honestly, I could definitely see these ones being used to if they fully like tore off the skin of people enough to basically disguise themselves as them, like perfect disguise. They could easily just like blend in and just like assassinate high key targets.
They could, except flayed ones. Keep in mind they are quite a lot like zombies, right?
Yeah.
So they also
So they
have
just
issues of zombies where they're harder to control. Like normal Necrons can't really direct them; they just kind of do whatever they want. So if the Necrons go and find say a target they want to kill, they can't go and direct the flayed ones. The flayed ones will appear if the Necrons are in trouble and having a fight. They'll come and fucking slaughter everyone, and they'll skin the people they're fighting, and then wear the skins of the dead within the same fight with the still wet flesh. They will try and put it on themselves.
mm,
So you'll just see your friend Nigel getting fucking murdered, turned to
Nigel.
sludge, like turned to just skin, and then you know his skin walking at you.
Mm.
I don't know why I said Nigel, but it was a random name I picked.
It's a very British name.
I picked it utterly at random.
But yeah, that would be really freaky. Just one moment you're just hanging with Nigel, and he's dead, and then you see like a giant metal skeleton wearing bits of human face skin hanging off his face. That'd be crazy. I have a theory. You said the Necrons used to have like organic bodies, like flesh and skin and
Yes,
shit. Maybe I think it's just the flayed ones are so crazy that they're just like trying to uh have that feeling again
pretty much. No,
by just
that's almost like
yeah.
exactly why they become flayed ones. Is they want their flesh back so badly. Like that's the entire thing. Because I read a book called The Twice Dead King, right, which is a
Hmm.
Necron book, and within the book they explore the flayed ones, right, and the flayed ones are described as wanting their flesh back so desperately that they would do basically anything to get it back, and they try by stealing it or forcing other people's flesh onto themselves.
Damn, I kind of feel bad for them
Yeah,
if they weren't
it's.
so fucking crazy.
I mean, it's also keep in mind that when it happens to a Necron,
Hmm.
they usually don't want it to happen. It like they look down on other Necron on it happening to other Necron.
So when you say that, I get the feeling that Necrons look at humans and like other organic life as inferior. Is that like
They
a,
do.
a good? Okay.
No, they do. They look at anyone who's not. They're very xenophobic. They look at anyone who's not a Necron as beneath them,
So like
as
like
less
the
than them.
Imperium, they're very Imperium of man.
Yeah, except they have more to back up their shit than the Imperium does. So the Imperium's kind of arrogant, but like squishy and only has numbers going for them. And the Necron have tech for days. I love how this is scary stuff, but it's turned into basically the Necrons because they are goddamn terrifying and also, like I said, depressing as fuck. Like the whole
God,
thing with the flayed ones is so sad.
dude, just like hearing you describe like the flayed ones and what they do to like the people that they kill makes me really wish that they made like a first person Warhammer 40K game where you take the where you control like an Imperial guardsman and you're fighting Necrons, and I'm just imagining them going into a bunker and like there's a bunch of like dead guardsmen on the floor, and then you just see like the green eyes of a Necron just like walking towards you, and then they shine their flashlights, and you just see them wearing the skin of their comrades on their bodies and stuff. That'd be like ultimate like horror nightmare fuel.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the vibe they tend to go for, and I kind of love it.
But did you also say that you're scared of them too?
Scared of them, yes, but also not quite as much as some of the chaos shit. Like I can't. Although even in my research, I couldn't fucking find the story about it, which is annoying.
All right. So, is what else on the flayed ones did you want to talk about?
Well, just that they're incredibly depressing, and so that's about all I can really say about the flayed ones outside of their story stuff. The next one I'd say is chaos is where we go next, but we're not going to go into any chaos because Zinch isn't particularly scary. He's just weird. He has because he's like magic and stuff. He has weird shit, but none of it's like scary per se.
Mm-hmm.
Nurgle, on the other hand, is terrifying.
Okay, the Asmongold Chaos God.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so
Okay.
tell me about
Before
Nurgle. What's up?
before we go into Nurgle, I need a second. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, and we're back. AC, before you had to go do stuff, you were talking about Nurgle, right?
Oh yes, Grandfather Nurgle, the kindly old cunt, who will turn you into. He will give you a gift of uh, the most despicable diseases you can imagine, which is um, hmm, how do I put this? Disgusting. I
Really
wouldn't want to be.
disgusting.
Well, would you want to be turned into a giant leper with who can spit out disease and um, what is probably a million slugs? Or
No, I don't suppose I would want to do that. Be like
yeah,
that. No.
Nurgle's blessings are all kind of gross. He sees himself as a this great grandfatherly figure, but Nurgle.
Well, if
Yeah,
it, just like
he's
a
disgusting, man.
yeah, just like a brief overview, like what what is Nurgle's deal? What is he all about?
So he's one of the main chaos gods, right? The main trifecta.
Hmm.
Is it trifecta? No, there's
Well,
four of
there's
them.
four, right?
The main four, right?
Yeah.
He is the Lord of Decay, but he's got a lot of other like weird, great nicknames such as the Fly Lord, Plague Lord, Great Corruptor, Master of Pestilence, Grandfather Nurgle.
Oh God,
He's
that one
he's
sounds
also
he sounds real bad.
he's also the most involved with the everyday lives of mortals, right? Through the gifts. Keep in mind,
Hmm.
gifts. Also, the music's still on, but also the gifts of you know great plagues, raging fevers, shaking chills until you slip into the grave. He's also, which earns him a weird nickname of the Lord of All. But
Ugh. So
yeah,
he's all about death and disease and
well,
pestilence.
he's there's nothing in creation that does not decay. So he is the god of all decay. He is incredibly powerful because of this, but he's also technically the god of
Well, if,
life.
well, if he's like the god of like decay and stuff, then that would mean he'd be like the most powerful, right? Out of all four of them.
You would think that, but they're all very well balanced between the four of them
Hmm.
because all four of them represent things that are incredibly powerful within reality. I'd say Nurgle's arguably could be the weakest, but he's also the one who like can change everything and make things like just be really weird. Slanesh is the Lord of Excess. So not necessarily. So the way Slanesh was created oh, it was a species wide orgy by the Eldar. Anyway, that's a whole
For
different
another
horror
day.
show. That's a
Yeah,
whole
for another
different show.
time.
But that I'll get back to Slanesh when I start talking about the Drakari because those two are linked quite tightly. Then there's Khorne, but Khorne isn't particularly scary in my opinion because he's just the god of war and blood, and it's like, yeah, I
And
mean, you can kill
skulls.
things, but like everyone involved in his thing is like war. So other than the horror of warfare, it's still kind of meh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still like, it's war. It's the whole thing of 40k. Like whatever. So the do you want to hear how Nurgle is kind of depicted? I'm going to describe some of the pictures I found online of Nurgle. He's a gigantic, monstrous. No, the easiest way to describe him would be a hut with three mouths.
Yeah,
And
that fits with how I remember
yeah, a hut with like
seeing him in
sharp
like Total
teeth.
Warhammer 3
Yeah, so like sharp teeth, clawed hands.
with a cauldron, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, 40Ks doesn't have a cauldron, but he does have, a lot of horns going down his back and his children
Yeah.
playing upon his horns. He's
Oh.
still pretty gross. He's also diseased, so there's pustules everywhere, and he looks like a leper. He's still a giant, disgusting monster covered in disease.
Weird.
The Plague Father though has apparent also is interesting in that he has one of the like smallest variations of his depictions within any of Warhammer, so 40k
Hmm.
or even Age of Sigma. He's pretty much consistent in his depictions as being like big and
Big,
vile.
green, and ugly.
Yeah, and also having like a lot of gross stuff just coming from him, around him. And he finds decay to be glorious, which is why the Death Guard, or his his fucking chapters of Chaos Marines. I'm going to call them Chaos Marines. They're corrupted Space Marines, but they tend to be like they tend to be bigger than the average Space Marine, but also bloated in their armor, with it just barely holding over their flesh that's trying to burst free, but it's not like muscle bursting free. It's more like a bloated corpse trying to break out of its container. The flesh sags like it's been dipped in acid and
Oh
just
God.
rot. They don't even
Ugh.
they tend to also be missing like lips and have like a stench, a visible stench around them, as well as like flies that devour bits of their flesh and just fly around that they don't seem to notice.
So
They're
when
the
you
blessings
said
of Nurgle.
he has the Death Guard, which is his own chapter of Space Marines. I've also heard the
Well,
term Plague Marines get thrown around. Are those like the
yeah.
same thing?
So I might also be. I think I'm confusing too because I think the Death Guard are loyalists, but the Plague Marines are the ones I was thinking of because the Plague Marines follow Mortarion, who was their Primarch, right? And he got corrupted by Nurgle because of shenanigans with the Word Bearers. And that was a whole thing, which one day I will tell you about the Word Bearers and all their fucking bullshit. And
So I
some
looked
of
it up,
their.
and the Death Guard are a traitor legion entirely steeped in the power of Nurgle.
Oh, so I
So
was
you were
remembering
right
correctly.
in the
Who was I
beginning, yeah.
thinking of? I was thinking there was Death, someone who's the loyalist you played in Space Marine 2 at the beginning. What the fuck were their names? Anyway,
Oh yeah, those ones. I remember.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
they're the Death Guard. I think they're called something else because the Death Guard are the ones led by Mortarion.
I think Blackwatch.
Yeah, you might be right. Oh, Death Watch.
Oh,
It's the
Death
Death
Watch.
Watch.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Death Watch. But like the most interesting thing is the gifts of Nurgle will also liquefy your muscles and your body, but also give you superhuman strength beyond anything that can be created by man or just genetic manipulation. So you'll become super strong, but all your muscles will sort of slop in your skin and become just giant bits of pus.
Ugh, God, that sounds like gross. Ugh.
Yeah, it's just Nurgle and the Death Guard. They do have their own thing. See, a lot of the horror in 40k has this weird grossness to it. Or at least the horror for me, because there's also Plague Marines who just straight up have their intestines hanging out and it doesn't bother them at all.
Mm-hmm.
And like their faces are so disfigured and like diseased and destroyed that they've melted into bits of their helmets. And
Ugh.
so like they can't take their helmets off anymore. They're all just part of this whole disgusting walking thing.
I'm
The
glad I ate
interesting,
before this conversation.
although interestingly enough, Nurgle has a rivalry with Tzeentch, the Lord of Change. They genuinely hate each other. To be fair,
Why is
they
that?
all four of them hate each other, but they have kind of different or opposed opinions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On how
Yeah.
mortals should be done. And Nurgle kind of gets defiance. His whole thing born out of the like despair and hopelessness. And Tzeentch's people tend to just be politicians and sneaky little fucks who do weird magical nonsense to do things. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then there's the lands of the Plague Lord, also better known as the Gardens of Nurgle, which I would not actually describe them as gardens per se, but Nurgle apparently calls them that.
I'm just imagining like rows and rows of flowers that are just wilted and giant like sacks of pus leaking everywhere,
No,
like
that's
with like
Morticia
weeds.
Adams. That's Morticia Adams' greenhouse. Don't be rude.
Oh,
They don't tend to have like
I'm sorry, Morticia Adams. Uh,
they tend to be like they do have a giant like amount of flora and fauna, but they're not, and they're all like interconnected to each other. But they also tend to like dig themselves up and leave dirt so that they can plant like skull seeds and stuff, and then those become beasts of Nurgle. Which you fought beasts of Nurgle when we played Darktide. You remember the beasts of Nurgle that think they're gonna play with you like big Labradors, and they actually
oh
just eat
yeah,
you?
those big things, right? With the giant like pus weak point on the back. Yeah,
Yes, those ones. Because fun fact, in Darktide, they are or they are all of those things are fucking cultists of Nurgle. That's why they all look like
yeah.
fucking zombies.
You know, I could probably tell because they had like the fucking maggots coming out of their bodies when you kill them.
Yeah, that's pretty average for your average Nurgle acolyte. Will have like fucking slugs and shit coming out. It will be disgusting.
Mm.
And there's also plague bearers who are like just kind of the guys who carry all the shit around. They do all the gardening. They're just sort of normal, but they're terrifying attendants because they're also like these weird things that kind of look like plants with like moss and stuff growing over them, and maggots coming out of their eyes and chest and wherever
Damn.
else, just dropping all out of their bodies with no
It's
one really.
funny. It's funny that you mentioned like the plague bearers because when I played Warhammer 2, um, Total War Warhammer 2, there's a section of the Skaven called the plague Skaven, or not plague Skaven, the plague bearers, and they're all about like plague and pestilence and stuff, and like they have like a giant like cauldron of like all kinds of sickness and plagues and gross shit in, um, and it made me wonder like how close do those Skaven go to like or like how close are they from just worshiping Nurgle? I don't know, but it's just like it's crazy. But go on.
Give me one sec.
All right, pausing. All right, recording again.
There we go. So Which, oh no, I need to go over
You,
the Death Guard as well because they have their own gross shit. And I'm trying to remember which of the Marines would kidnap humans and use them to birth new Space Marines birth new skinless Space Marines, and then skin stitch a bunch of kidnapped human skins together to clothe their skinless Space Marines. I'm trying to remember which unit did that. I don't
that
think it
just
was the
sounds
Death
like
Guard.
a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Kind of. That's kind of what would happen. It was still kind of disgusting, but I cannot remember who it was because it was in one of the 40k books where that would happen, and it's described by a space marine who's stuck in the warp and he watches this happen and he's like, that is fucked up. What the
Is
fuck?
it the Demon Cobra thing?
It might be, yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
I always see it like on a Warhammer stuff like don't look up the Demon Cobra, like don't look it up what it is because it's like really really bad. Do you have that on here?
I do not. I've also had a busy week with a lot of editing and stuff to do, so my brain's a bit fried. I went for like the broad strokes of stuff I remember to find instead of anything specific. There are a few specifics, for example,
Mm-hmm.
the cryptos, and then there's also a few other things of like some of the more bizarre stuff that happens to the Emperor's children and the fucking music Chaos Marines.
Emperor's Children. That sounds like a loyalist thing,
The
but you're
Emperor's
saying it's
children.
not.
The Emperor's children are Fulgrim's children, and they are Chaos Marines who worship Slanesh. Which
That's
brings me to the
weird.
next topic of the Jakari.
Why give him a name like Emperor's Children then?
Because before they fell to becoming what they are now and disgusting beings of excess,
Mm-hmm.
they were the most loyal, the most well regarded of the loyalist chapters
Oh
back
God, talk
during
about a fall from grace.
the Horus Heresy. All of their shit all of it just goes back to Fulgrim being given a cursed sword. Yeah, there's a lot more to it, but that was kind of where it all started. All their shit, their problems started. All their shit.
That's just like the Cliff Notes version. Okay.
Yeah, Cliff Notes version. Fulgrim was given a sword. He got possessed by a demon. Later was revealed to have just gone full demon. Killed his brother,
Oh God.
and then in turn got killed and reborn as like a snake demon in the warp.
It's chaos all along, guys. It's always chaos
It's always
everywhere.
chaos.
You
But
missed
like
your bus. That's chaos. You got fired. It's chaos. They didn't have
pretty
your
much.
food in stock. It's chaos. It's always chaos.
But going back to Slanesh and the Drakari. So the Drakari are the Dark Eldar. They are just straight up normal Eldar, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, they're one of three or four sects of Eldar that all split apart. So you get the what are they called? The Eldar you're used to, who kind of live on craft worlds, which are basically just giant ships, giant like starships that just like drift through space. Those
Yeah.
are your normal non chaos non like fucked up Eldar, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
they're they're arrogant assholes, but they're not like they don't wear like spiky armor and they don't kind of creepy and they don't take immense pleasure in like no wait they don't literally feed off your pain. Then you get the like primal Eldar who ride dinosaurs and are back to basics. They don't really have any technology, but they do ride dinosaurs, which is really fucking cool.
That's
I thought I'd
cool.
mention them because that's cool, but they aren't the focus of this one. Then you get
I think they'd get along with the lizard men. I'm just saying because the
probably
lizard men are always like are all about dinosaurs and shit.
yeah, but then the next thing you get are the Drakari, who are the Dark Eldar. and they fucked up, man.
Oh God, what do they do? AC? Is it
So
is it is it weird
everything
and
they do is
scary?
weird, man. So one thing they do, they feed off the pain of other sentient beings, right? So if you see a Drakari
Oh God, they're
raiding party
Cenobites.
come for you, right? They're not going to kill you. They're going to come and kidnap everyone and then slowly torture you and devour your pain. Like it's delicious, delicious food for their souls. All so they can
Oh
stave off she who thirsts. Also known
God, it's
as
it's literally
Slanesh.
Hellraiser. It's literally Hellraiser. They're on the Cenobites. Uh,
They are kind of the Cenobites. Like they do all their stuff to like stave off the attention of Slanesh. However, they also do not have any psychers at all. They got rid of their psychers because that would attract the attention of Slanesh. So they were like, "Fuck that! We're just gonna devour the pain of people because apparently that's how you learn to feed yourself." Because that makes sense.
Wait, so the Dark Eldar aren't aligned with Slanesh? They hate Slanesh, or are
Yes.
they aligned?
No,
Okay.
they're against Slanesh. They're still deeply tied to Slanesh because if a Drakari properly dies without any form of resurrection, which they do have resurrection means of resurrection,
Hmm.
she gets their souls to devour.
Ah.
To be fair, that applies to all Eldari, not just the Drakari. But the Drakari have the greatest fear of it for some reason.
So you're
Which
telling me they torture people, feed on their fear? Didn't you also say Slanesh is like uh she who thirsts, and they're all about that kind of excess emotion and shit?
Yeah, but keep in mind the Jakari are also they're very you know they're not about the excess. What they're about is just torture,
Doesn't
just
Slanesh
pain.
get power from that too?
Only in excess. They have a system of using it as like a way of staving her off, which I still don't understand, even though I've like registered it. I've like researched it. Still have no idea how the
Oh,
fuck it
okay,
doesn't
so
work, but it's fine.
regulation torture. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And they still live within. They live within the webway, right?
Hmm.
And they have a giant city that's like just a weird fucked up city. They do tend to be a bit more sneaky and backstabby than most other races, especially the Eldar. Like even their brethren Eldar, they are more likely to do backstabbing and then like sell you out. Except for that one time they made an alliance with the cult Mechanicus and built and got the schematics for the Golden Throne and built their own version for it and almost
Oh
cloned
no.
the Emperor of Mankind.
No, wait, they really cloned the Emperor of Mankind?
Well, they tried to, but they didn't have enough genetics.
Ah, okay. My emperor is better than your emperor.
Not quite. They just needed him as a battery for their Dark Throne.
Oh,
They,
so
they
it's
just
like
want him as like
Matrix.
they
It's
just
like
want
the
him.
Matrix.
It's more because they think they can use it as a way to draw away Slanesh.
Okay.
So they're trying to use it as like a way of either imprisoning Slanesh or driving Slanesh somewhere. But
So what do the Drukari do that's like so crazy outside like the torture?
well, for one thing, they also when their torturees get all the way to the end of their rope, that's not the end. They kill them, and then they start building things out of their bodies.
Oh.
While they're still fully conscious, they start building new things out of those bodies. New people, servants, random works of art. They just make them into things.
You're not telling me they make like works of art with like the skin and organs of people they capture, are
Oh,
you?
they do. They do. They do indeed.
That's so
And
fucking weird. I'm
they
pretty
make
sure there's a
living
serial
bits of
killer that
art.
did something like that in the real world.
I mean, they've got millions of serial killers, and they've got cabals. Their entire civilization lives on backstabbing and treachery and murder. It's very friendly,
Oh
but not
yeah,
very helpful.
the guy's name was Ed Gein, who made skin
Ed
furniture
Gein.
out of people he
Oh
killed.
yes, Ed Gein, the man who was,
He was secretly a
partially the
Drukari.
inspiration. Well, he was partially the inspiration for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Nah. Also, secret Drukari, guys. You've heard it here first.
Except he didn't kill anyone. As far as I'm aware, he only killed 2 people. The rest of it was he dug up corpses and made shit out of the corpses.
Would the
He was a fucked
Drukari
up.
do that too?
Uh, Only to their own people. They go and find
Oh
the bodies of
God.
their own people and just rebuild them and make them alive again.
So
They're good at that.
while they're making the people works of art, are they alive or are they like dead?
No, they're alive. They don't let them die. How would they get any nourishment from that?
Oh, that's really fucked up. So they would make someone into like a painting, and the painting would have eyes, and the eyes would just be like looking around, like forced to basically
Well,
suffer.
they tend to not make paintings, but they would make sculpture.
Well, same principle then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God,
So they're
they're
fully
like they're.
alive.
It looks like it sounds like they're the Q from All Tomorrows.
Kind of like that, yeah. But they have a lot of stuff going on with them because they tend to not do that much with the wider galaxy because they don't have the biggest like army, and they tend to also like they're very splintered into like different cults and so on, where they just fight each other. Cults and cabals, they're all like infighting the whole time, and if somebody can get them all to like join, they might actually cause problems, but they're too prone to trying to kill each other that it's not really helpful. Like the one book I read that had the Drakari, which also was the same book that I spoke about last time, where they had the orcs in the Drakari's homeland. Drakari talked about just straight up murdering her brother because he was slightly too ambitious, and like actively kills him towards the end of the book. Well, actually,
Yeah,
no. She just kind of throws him at the orc and lets him kill him.
yeah, the Drukari are not good people. They don't sound like good people at all.
No, none of them are good people. They're all fucking heinous. But this is the grimdark of the far future.
Yeah, no
There
one's good.
are there are other tiny little bits of 40k that are utterly terrifying. But they're little mysteries that are kind of hiding out in bits and books. They're not like the most well-known bits of it because they're often like hidden away in corners. Like the cryptos are like little hidden things, and the scariest parts of 40k are like just straight up the weird mystery things, and these like little stories where it's a character story and the character has to deal with a human character, not a space marine. Because when it's space marines, it's like you're fighting. It's like the knight fighting the dragon. You know what I mean? Where it's like
Yeah,
heroic and cool. But then when it's the human fighting chaos, it goes from it's heroic and cool to what the
a
fuck is
horror
that?
movie.
I'm about to die. What the
Yeah.
fuck is going on? Yeah. So there's a bunch of stories about that. Then there's the gene stealer cults, who are related back to the Tyranids, who I'm sure you know how scary those fuckers are.
Yeah, the Tyranids, yeah.
Yeah, like you've seen them in Space Marine 2, where they're not that scary because you're playing as an Ultramarine.
Yeah, but if you're
But
playing
like,
like as a guardsman, then they become like the scariest thing in the fucking universe.
yeah, no, 100%. Like you wouldn't know how to deal with it. You would see this like wave of stuff coming at you and destroying you. But then even individual Tyranids. Okay, let me start with the Gene Stealers. So Gene Stealers are cults. They're like seedlings that look human. So they land on Earth as like an egg thing, and then pop out as 90% human. Then they'll go and affect another human, who will then go and reproduce and create like this weird hybrid thing. And then they'll go and create another hybrid thing. And then they'll create hybrids until they've basically just created Tyranids. But there will also be like an entire planet will have been taken over by this one fucking cult. Gene Stealer cults. I have explained Gene Stealers incredibly badly, though. I will admit this.
It
so
sounds
anyone
like
watching the podcast, I'm so sorry.
It sounds like the Gene Stealer cults are basically just there to soften up a planet to make it easier for like the Tyranids to invade and like conquer.
That is a pretty accurate description of what the Gene Stealers are, because they kind of also worship the Tyranids. They have a genuine connection to the Tyranid hive mind as well, which is weird because it means they're basically like talking Tyranids. So you can communicate with them and stuff, except they're more likely just try and murder you and not act and just be like, just scream some obscenity and then blow themselves up. You know what I mean?
So like the Alien, in Alien 3, where they made a Xenomorph Ripley hybrid.
Yeah, except that unlike the Xenomorph Ripley hybrid, who was mostly human and hated the Xenomorphs, these things love the Tyranids and are more Tyranid than human. They are just stuck in the hive mind. They want to kill humans. They want to feed the humans on their planet to the hive, to the entire mothership. Yeah, they're fucked up, but they're also weird because when the Imperium first encountered the Gene Stealers, they just thought they were a different species of aliens, and it took a while. It took a while for them to find out that they were part of Tyranid hive fleets, because they just looked like weird humans to start with. Like when they started meeting them, they just looked like blue-skinned, slightly tall humans. And then they got weird because they would grow their own weapons and like be completely bald.
Yeah, I can definitely see a bald person being an alien.
I mean, to be fair, in their thing, it was like alopecia type baldness, where they would have zero hair whatsoever. And like, they would have, like, they'd be telltale, but not telltale enough until they started getting blue skin as well, or like scales.
Oh, God.
So when they started getting
by then it's definitely recognizable.
Yeah, but at that point, it's usually too late. Because then by that point, the Tyranid hive fleet will pitch, and you'll be like, well, fuck.
Now we're fighting two battles: one against the people or the aliens in the orbit, and one under the floorboards that are trying to kill us.
Yep, pretty much. But that's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't find 40K that scary. I know there's there's like scary stuff in it, but most of it's down to like the little stories of like people encountering things. Like there was a story I remember watching a YouTube video on where a guy, 20 years before the story, his wife and twin sons went to join the army, right? And their ship had a faulty part, so it entered the warp and never left the warp. It kind of imploded in the warp.
Was stuck. Oh.
And everyone on board was listed as dead, including his children, who he didn't know were dead until 20 years later, when he kind of found a manifest of the ship and explaining what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started seeing behind him, he saw shadowy ghosts, who at first he didn't know what they were. And then he caught a glimpse of one of them and went, "That's my son. That's definitely my son. Why is my son following me?" And he started getting freaked out, right? And because a lot of the people on his planet at the time had like left, he was like the only one who lived in his particular area on the floor of his like habitation zone. He was the only person who lived there. So when he was walking up on this like 6th floor, he started getting followed. And because he had just found out about the death of his wife and children, he was so racked by grief, he put out a prayer to Tzeentch. Accidentally. He didn't know he was praying to Tzeentch, because he prayed to the changer of ways, right? Or that's what he said in the thing. He prayed to the changer of ways, which means, but he didn't know he was praying to Tzeentch. Tzeentch answered. and the ghosts who were following him vanished. Instead, something started chasing after him. Something he couldn't quite see, but it was big and it was loud. So he ran back to his apartment. He ran just in time, slamming the door behind him, locking it. And he hears scratching against the door. He has fingers trying to grasp at something on the door. Then there's silence. Nothing at all. Then bang! The door is thrown through the apartment. And when he looks out, there's just inky blackness. He can't see. For a second, there's further silence and blackness. And then through the doorway, 3 sets of arms appear and pull something through. It's his wife and children. But they've been turned into a single being with all 3 of them. And all they can tell him is, "You did this to us. Your prayer did this to us."
Oh, no.
And then the story ends.
That's like some monkey's paw type shit.
Oh, no, it is. It's 100% that. But, like... like, you know what I mean? Where you, like, see this stuff and you're like, oh, that's where the horror is. And the other one I listened to was a story about a group of men, right? The governor of their planet wasn't showing proper loyalty to the Imperium of Man and to the God Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
So they were conspiring to kill him because he wasn't loyal enough to the Imperium. But because this is one of those weird things where you can go from people who fly on speeders to guys riding horses with swords. This particular story took place in a world where it had guys riding horses with swords, and they met at an old, like destroyed temple to the God Emperor. And he and his friend meet, and they discuss the fact that one of their cohorts has gone missing, and he turned up dead. So they think, okay, there's a traitor among us. Someone's trying to get us killed.
Someone's being
sussy. They start building up this paranoia between them, right? Because someone's betrayed them, or at least they believe so. Story's not really clear on if someone had, because they don't do it with 40k stories. They don't straight up explain that type of thing to you. But they hear a banging of a door going open and close, like bang. There's a door, so they go and investigate, and they find a trapdoor. The lock's opened. So they pull open this door, and they have a quick discussion between themselves. Do we go down, even though we've got this intense feeling of dread for this door, or do we run and listen to the dread in our hearts, and we take our horses and run? But the only reason they don't is because they decide they are too paranoid that someone sold them out, so they want to see if they can find the guy who sold them out, if they're, beneath them in this thing. So they go down, and they're instantly met with a disgusting stench. They don't know what it is, but it's
Nurgle.
Revolting. You know that smell of, or when you smell something that's so bad that it just like instantly makes you retch and you want to like throw up straight away from your stomach.
Yeah,
that kind of brutal stench. That's just like, it just hits you. They're instantly met with that smell. But they decide they're going to go on. They grip their swords and draw their swords and walk down into this area. As they get to the bottom step, one of them steps on something. And he looks down and he finds it's a bone with some fabric tied to the top. Before they discuss this man pours his entire hip flask of liquor onto it and sets it ablaze to build himself a makeshift torch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're instantly met with the sight of a bloated man with a sunken face, his hand outstretched but held stiff in rigor mortis. They go up to him and they find, oh no, it's one of their missing companions. One of their friends who's turned up dead. He's just there. What is he doing there? Why is he dead? And then idiotically they decide to keep going.
Those fucking idiots.
Okay, I'm
Oh
lying.
no.
That's not what happens. That's not what happens. What actually happens is there's a wind blows through it, but the wind is so strong it blows the door, slamming it shut. Now, this door isn't just a wooden door that you could probably hack through with a sword. This is a stone door with no handle on the inside to open it. This is a mausoleum. They've come into a crypt. Why would it be handles on the inside of the doors? So they're trapped. Now, they decide they're going to go further in and see if there's another way out. So they start walking in. They find... But the stench, surprisingly, doesn't get better. It gets worse. The stench gets stronger the further in they go, the deeper they go. Until they find another body. This one's even more decomposed than the last, but the face still has milk-white skin. It's still intact. It's one of their other friends. Another friend trapped down. Now these two men are freaking out. This was a trap.
It's
They
definitely
panic.
Nurgle. It has to be.
And then wind blows through and blows the torch almost out. Not quite fully out, but just enough that it loses most of its light until all they can see is the body at their feet. And then they hear a growling behind them. A deep, guttural, inhuman sound. And they turn around to find something not quite recognizable standing there. His long, elongated arms, built of ripped, strong muscle. Kind of like a space marine, you know? So it's big and bulky. It's not skinny. But it has got very, very long arms that reach almost to the ground. And sharp, angular teeth. In an instant, they're both struck by such fear they can't move. They know they should draw their swords. But they can't. The fear is too much. Their swords are just held. I know I said draw their swords. What I actually meant was they're just holding their swords limply at their sides. There's nothing there. They can't fight. They can't do anything. And then, snap. This man's friend's head is gone. The teeth snap around his neck, all the way down his head, clamping over to his chest. And then his body just drops to the floor, along with his friend's sword. Now, he knows he should pick up that sword and fight. He'll have a better chance. But that part of his brain, that primal, terrified part of his brain just says, run. Run as far and as fast as you can. So he does. He sprints back up the stairs. He sprints past his friend's corpse into the stone door. He scrabbles to get his fingers anywhere to pull this door open. He finally manages it. The door slides open just as the monster gets to him and he sprints up the stairs. In his panic, he leaves the door open. He gets to the top and finds the horses he and his friend had... He finds what remained of the horses he and his friend had ridden in on. Most of their bodies were missing. All you could see was the bloody remains of bits of a torso and a leg or two just lying on the floor. He stares in panicked horror And then he sees no more. Now, can you guess what happened to this guy at the end of that
Was it
story?
Nurgle? It sounds like
Oh,
Nurgle.
no, they don't explain what this fucking thing was. He just got fucking murked by something.
So he got transformed into a monster, right?
Oh, no, he got eaten by a monster.
Oh, he got eaten by a monster. Okay.
Yeah. So 40K stories are weird, especially their horror stories, because some of them have like gods kind of influencing, and some of them are just like, oh no, it's just a straight up. It's like it's a monster, but part of the horror comes from the characters and their reactions to the monster. So if I told you the story of, okay, so these two guys went down into the cellar, they found their dead friends, then they met a monster, then they went up, then one got eaten, and the other guy ran upstairs. You would be like, oh, that's not scary. I think the way I did it made it feel a lot more scary. I don't know if it was actually scary, but I tried. And keep in mind, this is the Cliff Notes version of the story. It's even better when you know the like character's internal thoughts.
I could hear little bits and pieces because you were doing like the scary voice, and it was a little bit too low. But I got like a little bit of it.
Oh, I wish you told me it was too low. God damn it.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
If you told me, then I could have said it and like switched the register to be something that like came out better.
I didn't want to interrupt your flow, man. You're doing really well.
The flow felt good. I thought I was doing so well. Oh well, hopefully it picked up well enough on the recording.
You were. especially the first story where you did like the sound effects that when you hit like your desk, it made me jump a little bit.
Oh, that's fair. That means you were into the story then.
Yeah.
God damn it. Because and then just as a kind of cool down after that, because I think we're running out of time anyway for this. Not too much, but yeah, I'm running out of voice. The other thing that this is more of a cool down thing. It's not so much scary, but it's kind of something cool that you might want to check out. And any of you guys who've ever heard of this game, you guys will definitely want to check it out. You guys are listening, which is an old game that Lindy played back when she was a kid. And it's also why she knew kind of more about the Chaos Gods than I did when I met her. Is a game called Warhammer Mark of Chaos.
Chaos again.
Yeah, Mark of Chaos, though, is one of the Warhammer fantasy games from aeons. It's from, I think it was made at the same time as the original Dawn of War games. Like, around the same time.
Wait, so...
But, set in Warhammer fantasy instead of 40k. So the gods are basically the same. I think there's just one extra god for the...
What came first? Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40k?
Fantasy came first.
Oh.
40k kind of followed afterwards, but 40k, as far as I can tell, has eclipsed it in terms of popularity because it's a lot more unique.
Okay.
In terms of like its feel and the vibe and the like general horror of it, it's a lot more unique feeling than Warhammer Fantasy, because Warhammer Fantasy is kind of a bit too similar to like something like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's not a one-to-one, but it's a lot more similar than 40k, which it has, as far as I can tell, there's nothing like 40k. Like 40k's storytelling style is very unique. 40k's like entire vibe is entirely unique to 40k. You won't go.
Yeah, right.
Like I can't think of anything else that has the same vibe. I'd say maybe Dune, but Dune's vibe isn't even close. Like there's a few aspects from Dune that are similar, like the way that they have like the ships have a guild, the navigators and the ships have a guild, and those guys kind of control space travel. But it also has like a weird beacon that goes back to Earth, and it has the Emperor, and it has a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that was some good storytelling, man.
That was fun. I haven't done storytelling like that in a while. I need to do more. I love storytelling.
You should definitely do that next time. next time we
Yeah.
do this.
I'll see if I can find something I can read for you, like read out for you, one of the short stories, and see if I can get you the vibe for it, and just do like a reading of one of the short stories.
Yeah,
Preferably something not too long, because I mean, there are also like straight up novels, and I've done audiobooks for 40k where I found some that are like the audiobooks are like 20 plus hours long. Worth listening to. It just means it takes you a couple of days to get through. But it's nice. It's nice to like sit and do something repetitive and listen to an audiobook.
yeah.
If you don't have to talk to people at work, I highly recommend it. If you like
Uh,
stacking shit, audiobooks
oh
are the
yeah,
way.
definitely. Yeah, when I like got really into podcasts when I was working at Walmart for like a
Yeah.
year.
But like, yeah, so podcasts and like audiobooks are the way, man. The amount of
Yeah.
audiobooks I've gone through. I've been doing. Oh, I've gone on a kick recently of doing like, okay, this is us going to podcast stuff to cool down after doing 40k, and also just because I want to gush a bit about some of the other weird nonsense we're doing this week, which includes me listening to a bunch of like Doctor Who audiobooks, which are just weird because they're Time War stuff. So it basically means everything doesn't make any fucking sense, and like half the characters get within the same story, they get retconned out of existence, but also just erased from existence because that's how time works, and you can do silly nonsense like that. Or they
Yeah.
die and then come back and then die again and don't remember it, or they hop around the timeline and never get remembered. You can do weird shit with time travel, but that was the weirdest one I did. Where character, her entire story was she was helping the Doctor do a thing, but at no point was it linear. Like it started like towards the middle, and then she helped him save a space station, but it was towards the end, and then her ending was at their beginning. It was weird. I love stories
Well,
like that.
that was a nice little Warhammer discussion.
Oh,
AC,
I
thank you
love.
for teaching
Yeah.
me about the
Did you hurry?
flares.
The flayed ones. Oh no.
Yeah, the flayed ones.
They are simultaneously terrifying and depressing. And if
Yeah,
you want, if you want to,
they yearn to feel their own skin.
they yearn to feel their own flesh. For anyone who's curious, if you guys want to like a really good Necron story that also delves into the flayed ones, I recommend the Twice Dead King series. It's amazing. It's very very well written. It's well, if you go buy the book, it's great. It's also got some really cool art. If you go listen to the audiobook, it's a fantastic audiobook. I highly recommend it. And it goes into like a lot of the like background of the Necrons, as well as how the flayed ones work, how they feel, along with like Necron politics and the fact that they find humans to be irritating more than scary.
Yeah.
Especially the fucking space marines. They're like, what the fuck are these guys? They suck. We're gonna we're gonna disintegrate them because the fucking Necron guns are scary. They're like Gore's weapons will just disintegrate you if they hit you, but like not like the funny thing of like a Looney Tunes where you get hit by a ray gun and you instantly poof pile of ashes. It's more like
No, it's like slow.
it's like slow disintegration, and you're like, oh, that's green energy
Yeah.
turning me into dust. That is ah. Like theoretically, you could survive if you just cut off the bit that got hit, but they usually hit you in the chest, so you're kind of fucked.
Yeah. I feel like the next discussion is you just wanting to gush about Necrons. Is that like
Dude,
a good assumption?
yes, my Necrons are probably one of my favorite they're probably my favorite faction behind the Orcs, because they're vastly different to the Orcs, and their whole story is sad and insanely avoidable. But like the whole thing that created the Necrons could have been avoided, but like it just wasn't for some reason. Whoever was in charge deserved to be fired, because
Uh
they went to the old ones, asked them for help so that their frail bodies wouldn't die, and the old ones were like, no, we can't help you.
no, get
You're
fucked.
not advanced enough. So they pulled the whole what's Prime Directive bullshit on them, and they were like,
They pulled the Prime Directive on them.
pretty much, and the Necrons are like, motherfuckers, we have space travel. Fucking help us. And they're like, yeah, we can't. I'm sorry. Life must do its own thing. And the Necron are like, right, we're going to go find some fucking gods and kill you all.
That's how the
and so
Necrons were born.
I mean, the Necrons also then got betrayed and turned into metal monsters, but that's a whole nother story.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say to the Warhammer fans listening right now?
You guys need to, either if you guys are angry about female custodians, you guys need to touch grass, and if you don't care, then you're cool. Like, if you care, you need to touch grass. If you don't care, if you're like mildly, you feel it's mildly weird, but you also at the same time don't care, then you're cool.
All right.
Because it's not that deep.
He has spoken. He has spoken.
I have spoken. Wait. I have spoken. I can't do the fucking, what's his name voice. You know who I'm trying to go for.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'll do it as Yoda. I have spoken. Spoken, I have.
All right, guys. See you guys next week for the podcast, which coincidentally falls on my birthday. So we'll have to.
You guys gonna send in all the birthday questions?
Yeah.
You need to ask Chris what his star sign is. I guess I don't know what you fucking do.
My star sign.
I don't know. I'm guess it's probably one of them.
Honestly, I don't even know my own star sign. I know my zodiac, it's Scorpio, but or not zodiac, my whatever the fucking Scorpio thing is.
I think it's probably Scorpio. Yeah, same as my mom then.
Yeah, but yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And AC.
Yes.
End it out.
Okay, Johnny.
Bye, guys.